Who are you? That is a question Nintendo asked their fans worldwide during the 6th generation when they released the GameCube and Game Boy Advance. Recently, there's been some disappointment amongst Nintendo fans about the Switch 2 as it pertains to the presentation and the pricing. Now that hasn't stopped the Switch 2 at all. It recently just sold out all of its pre-orders online and in person, so the demand is still there. Analysts are even saying that it could break the record for a console launch of all time. I think that's held by the PS4 and PS5 at about 4.5 million units sold within the first year. Nintendo is looking to do 6 to 8 million sold within the first year, so yeah, the demand is still there for the Switch 2. And the games look great. I mean, Mario Kart World looks like a fantastic game. I don't know if it looks like an $80 game, but it certainly does look like a really good Mario Kart. But recently, I heard someone on a podcast make a great point, a point that in part inspired this video. People miss the old Nintendo, the one that was fun with their presentation. The Nintendo that had Iwata being literally sucked into the world of Mario, or the one with Reggie being hilariously added to their presentations, whether it was also being sucked into the world of Mario or getting his face lit up by Bowser. It feels as though that era for Nintendo is gone, and this new one is simply business with the smallest bit of personality. That is why now is the perfect time to ask Nintendo, who are you? Okay, so if you're not aware of the slogan, who are you? This was an ad campaign Nintendo ran during the GameCube and Game Boy Advance era. They would release so many of these print ads that showcase someone, a normal person, usually doing some normal thing, but with Mario taped over their face, or maybe a Metroid arm taped on their arm. It was one of the most interesting and, in my opinion, impactful ad campaigns ever. The premise is actually quite simple. Who are you? It simply means you can be anyone from anywhere, but ultimately you are what you play. If you're a construction worker but you love Zelda, then that's who you are. You're Link. If you're a gamer who loves Mario and you can't get enough of Mario Kart, well then you're Mario. That's who you are. This really resonates with me on such a deep level. A part of it has to be nostalgia. I mean, this time period was a great part of my life that I look back very fondly of. But another part of it has to be the innate sense of freedom that comes with this slogan. When we play video games, we are getting lost in a world. Maybe we're speeding through the streets of San Francisco, rail grinding to kick-ass rock music. Or maybe we're fighting to save the world from an alien race that wants to wipe us all out. Maybe we're humanity's last stand. Or maybe we are on a beautiful vacation cleaning up a mess that we did not make, trying to save a princess from a little version of Bowser. But whatever we play, we are entering a different world. One where we can do or be anything. A world that makes us truly free. That right there is what I think Nintendo was getting at with this slogan. When people play as Link, they truly identify with the character through his stories. We almost lose ourselves in this hero, so much so that we are Link. Hopefully that makes sense. When Nintendo asked, who are you? They literally meant, who are you? Are you Link? Are you Mario? Are you Kirby? It's such an ingenious way to market games to fans worldwide because everybody can get lost in a video game and anybody can identify with any character Nintendo has. I truly think that this is the best of Nintendo and their weird, interesting, charismatic personality. Which brings me to the point. Nintendo was recently called out by former PlayStation boss, I really can't pronounce his name so I'm not even going to try, but he said that Nintendo has been losing their identity after the reveal of the Switch 2. And I'll be honest, that's not true at all. They still make some of the best games and best experiences that you simply just can't get anywhere else. Even if it's not as prominent as it was in prior generations, the Nintendo touch still exists. However, I do feel that Nintendo's next generation of leaders don't really understand the Nintendo way in the same way that Reggie or the absolutely late great Iwata did. Gaming has to be fun more than anything else. You should smile when you're playing a game. You should feel immersed, comfortable, and happy. Iwata, the visionary that he was, foresaw what gaming was going to become if you simply just chase graphics and performance. Iwata saw the pursuit of more powerful hardware and graphics as a potentially harmful path for the industry, leading to higher development costs, a cycle of increasingly similar looking games. Sound familiar? That's literally what ends up happening. How many PlayStation games just look the same? Like they've been been making the same game for years now with The Last of Us. God of War, Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, and soon to be Ghost of Yotai. They're all the same things. Cinematic, third-person, open world, blah blah blah. It's actually criminal how little Sony tries anymore to be creative and interesting. Astrobot, which felt like a breath of fresh air, is a rare case of true excellence. It's from Sony, it is creative, and it also highlights how many mascots they used to have and how much they could use but choose not to. And also, the game is really sad because, to quote Logan Plant from IGN, it's like a graveyard for former PlayStation mascots and games that they simply do not care to make anymore. And honestly, that's true. I agree with that. And then you look at Xbox, who lost everything. They lost their audience, their trust with the fans, they lost so much of their foothold in the market, and they lost some of their biggest franchises. I mean, Gears of War declined massively over the years, and even their signature game, the game that revolutionized FPS games on console, Halo, has become more of a punchline than a headline. Those two companies lost their way years ago, and now both PlayStation and Xbox, they just chase diminishing returns and stuff that is soulless almost. I mean, there's nothing really left for them to do power-wise. How much better can these games look? Nintendo is thankfully not at that point, and I don't think they're ever going to be like that. However, this is a lesson to Nintendo's young new leadership. Personality, creativity, and a human touch go a lot further than you think they do in this industry. Iwata knew that, and during his time, he made sure that Nintendo operated in that fashion. It's why we saw him in so many awesome commercials and ads with Reggie. He was the president of Nintendo, but more importantly, he was Mario. He was Link. He was Nintendo. Same with Reggie. And to look back at some of these ads, it just reminds me a little bit of those old ESPN This Is SportsCenter ads. Today, ESPN is a shell of itself. They've resorted to loudmouth hot takes to stay afloat, and they really don't do much of sports coverage anymore. But before that happened, the Stephen A. Smithification of ESPN, it was just a bunch of nerds who really love sports, and they showed that in their commercials. They were funny, they were like charismatic, but they were also perfect for what the time was. It was truly just a bunch of nerds that were super interested in batting average, how many touchdowns a running back could score in a season. It felt so authentic. And Nintendo was very similar. It's a bunch of businessmen who obviously care about the money, but man, they love the games too, and they want to create these new experiences. They want to see what they can do with each iteration of their console generations and games, and every new idea led down paths of crazy innovation. These were businessmen, but they were also gamers. Who are you? That was the question posed to us as fans, gamers worldwide. And the answer, like I said, is simple. We are what we play. But now, I think as Nintendo is about to launch a new console, I would ask them the same question. Who are you, Nintendo? The answer, hopefully, is simple for them like it was for us. They are Mario. They are Zelda. They are Donkey Kong. They're Pokemon. They are the weird, gimmicky innovations that only Nintendo can truly be proud of because only they could come up with something like it. They are the fun and wacky, energetic, and weird game company that realizes this is all about fun and experiences first, and that's what you have to sell to consumers, not graphics. Never give up Amiibo. Never stop coming up with new gimmicks like the mouse controls. Always remember what Iwata's vision was, and most of all, never forget who you are, Nintendo. Thanks to anybody who tuned into this one. It was a topic that I wasn't sure how I was going to go about explaining, but hopefully this all made sense. I truly believe that Nintendo is the last stand, the last beacon of creativity and fun in video games. And it's not to say that some of the modern games that we get today aren't fun. Of course, some of them are very fun, but they're all very similar. Like I said, PlayStation's games at this point just blend in. You really can't tell the difference other than like the setting, and even that is becoming very difficult to tell the difference. And Xbox, well, they just have a fetish for humiliation, and I guess I'll just leave it at that for them, because what they did to Halo, especially with that TV show, that's not cool, man. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more content. I am definitely on the road to being more consistent again, so I appreciate all the support that I've gotten to this point. Thank you once again, and one more time, just for the road, who are you?